What's up, guys? Your boy, 22K13. Going to talk about 10 big problems Triple H faces as WWE owner. And this comes from WhatCulture.com. Triple H is currently positioned as the person to take over from Vince McMahon in WWE. It may not be the exact same sort of role, but he'll almost certainly be handling the wrestling side of the business. There also be an increased corporate responsibility, which is something that the game isn't really all that cut out for. He got challenges ahead of him, and this feature will look at the problem he faces as a potential Vince McMahon replacement. His ascension started back in the latter part of the last decade, when he became increasingly involved with producing shows and sitting in on business meetings. He actually been sitting in on Vince meetings as far back as 1997, and that involvement only got more active when he started dating Stephanie McMahon in the early 2000s. He's now the Executive Vice President of Talent, live event and creative, and has been getting groomed to be a business force for the last half decade. Triple H, the wrestler, is now secondary to Paul Levesque, the board member and executive officer. Wrestling fans are fairly optimistic for a future with Triple H. They've forgotten about the hated guy who caused backstage resentment in the 2000s, and he now hailed as the genius behind NXT. But it isn't going to be a smooth transition with all these problems hanging over his head. Number 10. Pressure in succeeding the greatest promoter who ever lived. First off, who will actually want to succeed Vince McMahon? It is a poison challenge as there's simply no way to follow on from the greatest promoter who ever lived. Stepping into those shoes is a daunting task, and the pressure is going to be massive on Triple H. Vince has ruled the roost for over 3 decades, and the success has been astronomical. Hunter is in a thankless and almost unwinnable position. Whatever he does in succeeding Vince, he inevitably going to be compared to his predecessor. And given Vince's unfathomably high level of success, how can Hunter mark his own stamp of power? The pressure in the first year is going to be unbelievable. Every failure is going to be scrutinized and magnified. It is going to be the most pressure that Triple H had ever been under in his life. Number 9. People will want him to fail. Just like backstage politics in wrestling, there's going to be boardroom politics at WWE headquarters. There will be people who dislike Hunter's personality and his business wrestling philosophy. There will be people willing him to fail, and in some cases actively undermining him. The likes of WWE FCO George Barrier might fancy the top job for himself. He's an example of someone who has been linked with taking over WWE, as he's seen as more of a corporate guy. Hunter is going to have to navigate those corporate minefields, but it could also be from within the WWE roster that people will want him out. And then you got WWE shareholders. Are they really going to be satisfied with seeing a wrestler running a corporation? You also have to consider all of WWE partners like television network, advertiser, sponsor, merchandiser, charity, and the media. These people have power and can make or break people in Triple H position. If they see him as just a wrestler masquerading as a businessman, then he's going to be find it very hard to maintain his job. Number 8. Kevin Dunn. Kevin Dunn is responsible for producing and directing WWE. He's very close to Vince McMahon and hasn't been too fond of Triple H work down in NXT. Just because Vince retired doesn't mean that Dunn goes. If he ends up staying around, then he could be a serious obstruction to any changes Triple H wants to make. Dunn is a major power backstage and is responsible for so much of WWE look and direction. He can make or break a wrestler's career. Hunter will likely want to show his power by changing things up and putting his own team in charge of Raw production direction. But with Kevin Dunn there, the game is going to have to contend with the fact he will have to share power. Number 7. Vince continuing meddling. Do you really think Vince McMahon is just going to retire and then disappear from WWE? No way. He's not going to be able to resist having his say about business, and you can imagine how Sunday dinner as a McMahon family resident will be. Vince will badger Triple H. He'll not only constantly be at his successor on how he should be doing things, but he'll also be keeping an eye out for his old boys like Kevin Dunn. It may not even be intentional on Vince's part, but meddling in WWE beyond his retirement is an inability, and that's going to end up undermining Triple H. The game will have to be strong and stand up to Vince, which in turn could cause strain and personal relationship among the McMahon family. Number 6. Lack of qualification and experience. Forget that WWE is all about wrestling and think of it just as an entertainment company, which is what it really is, a multimedia entertainment company. Is Triple H really qualified to run such a business? Could you imagine him in charge of a Disney or any other business in the entertainment industry? Or putting it another way, can you imagine any other major company appointing someone so unproven in the business world? The answer is no way. How can this guy, who has mainly spent his life as a pro wrestler, suddenly become the manager of a company worth hundreds of millions of dollars and employing over 700 people? His experience is basic, with only 5 proper years spent in the trenches of the corporate style of WWE. As for qualification, he has 0. Most major companies look for Harvard or off-grid background in their top executives. The only thing Hunter ever studied was old-school wrestling matches. It will be a problem with him, and he may well end up filling in over his head. He's going to have to utilize some serious self-belief to make it. Number 5. Conflict of interest with his own wrestling character. This is a problem that also afflicted Vince McMahon and will surely be an issue with Triple H. As boss of WWE, Vince booked himself as a god in WWE storylines. He even booked himself as a Royal Rumble winner and WWE champion. That same conflict of interest and abuse of power is sure to rear its head with Triple H in charge of WWE. You can just imagine him at 50, still booking himself in co-main event at WrestleMania and getting big wins over younger stars. Why do you think he building Seth Rollins up so much? It is so he can one day defeat him. Hunter's conflict of interest could be a massive issue, because he really does believe in himself as one of WWE all-time greats. It could end up having a really negative impact on WWE as he attempts to be both wrestler and ruler. Number 4. Buddy with too many other boys. Triple H is friends with John Cena, The Undertaker, and an entire old boys network of WWE performers. He's going to look after his own. He also really good buddies with a new clique of WWE wrestlers, many of whom he has personally mentored in NXT. Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens are 2 prime examples of that. The conflict of interest is again going to cause potential problems. Hunter going to push his guys, and they aren't necessarily going to be best for business, pardon the pun. He himself came up in a system of being buddy-buddy with Vince and benefited from that ahead of some overlooked great wrestler. It looked like history could end up repeating itself. Number 3. Wrestling ideal over business reality. Triple H has got a great mind for the wrestling business. There's no doubting that. But that could actually be a bad thing, as he may end up putting too much emphasis on the wrestling business rather than the money-making business. Things like 3-hour Raw shows, they don't make much wrestling sense, but they do make business sense with the advertising aspect. More time equals more ads. If Triple H came in and looked to move Raw back to 2 hours, if he tried to do other things linked to his wrestling ideal, then it could end up having a negative impact on the business side of things. Ultimately, he be in Vince's job as a businessman, and he have to fight urges to be in there as a wrestling idealist. Vince McMahon abandoned pro wrestling and embraced sports entertainment, becoming very rich in the process. Hunter must ensure he thinks with his head and not his heart, as the wrestling world versus the corporate world is a fine line to walk. Number 2. Fixing WWE mounting problem. Triple H will hardly be inheriting the ideal circumstances when he takes charge of WWE. Raw ratings are on the decline and that's only going to get worse in the future. It is a generational and cultural issue as fans no longer feel the need to watch programming live. Then there's the WWE Network, which shows no sign of hitting the 4 million subscribers that investors imagine. They struggle to even maintain a million subs. As for the wrestling roster, it is so light on stars. Where are WWE main event going to come from? The merry-go-round of part-timers can't go on forever, and WWE look a million miles away from finding the next John Cena. There's no easy fix to these problems. Yet, Triple H is going to be expecting to improve things. He's going to have to see where Vince has failed on these issues. But the truth is that there may not be a fix. Wrestling is on the decline and maintaining it at the near 20-year level of prominence it has enjoyed since 1998 is going to be hard. And number 1. Convincing the wider world he is credible. The biggest problem Triple H is going to face is convincing the wider world he is credible. Wrestling fans will accept him, but Wall Street is going to be very skeptical. The WWE stock price is sure to take a whack, and his first year in charge is going to be focused on stabilizing the company. Transition from Vince McMahon to a complete unknown in the business world is a challenge, and he's going to have to work extra hard to convince the corporate world that he to be taken seriously. He a risky appointment for WWE, and anyone who thinks a wrestler is bound to be great for the wrestling business is naive to what Vince McMahon and WWE are actually all about. You only have to look through the history of other promotions that put wrestlers in the office to see how terribly these things can go. Well, there you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.